show you very simply how the most basic data validation algorithm can work with Anker in Revit. So what I've got here is I've got a dashboard. This is on the web. This is in the web database of Anker. I'm looking at a validation that's basically just ran 4 minutes ago. It's showing me that out of my massive model of 12 walls inside of Revit, 16.7% are failing. That's 2 elements. 2 out of 12, 16.7%. I should check that math actually, but anyway, there's some failing elements in Revit. I can explore the table below and look at there's 2 elements. These 2 elements are actually failing on a naming of type in Revit. So I have interior 100 millimeters, I have skirt 50 millimeters, and then some crazy person just renamed my 100 millimeter wall to something called 100 millimeter wall, and that's failing the check. So the check, how that looks, I go to the builder, and you can see that I'm filtering out anything that is not a wall. I'm filtering out all the types. I'm filtering out anything that is not in the interior Revit file. And then I'm checking the type name against whether it is one of these values, interior 100, skirt 50, and then some other facade wall type name. That's okay. This is where you specify what is allowed as a type name in your project, and that can be a very long table, and we have ways of automating the creation of this list. It can also be other types of rules, whether something contains something, does it match a regex, doesn't match regex, is it a unique property name or property value. But in this particular case, I'm checking if any wall type name across or in this Revit file contains any of these values. So that is why that triple M, which is kind of like a spelling mistake probably, is failing in this particular check. I've shared this dashboard with my team, so you can disable sharing or enable sharing. Enabling the sharing, actually, if you click this button, it just creates a public URL that you can share with your team. You can also stream the data of this validation results to Power BI and then push it into the team channel, for instance, of your project. There's a lot of people using Anker doing that. But let's look at what do you do when you see that 2 out of 12 elements are failing some check in your project. Yes, you go into the tool that people are using. So I'm in Revit here, and the funny thing, or the cool thing, is very simple, but cool, is that I can access the same validations inside of Revit. So I've got my everything validation, I've got my work package validation, I've got my wall types validation, which is the same validation that I saw in the web. And that's because I'm basically looking at the web just through the Anker add-in in Revit. I see the same walls. I've got my interior 100, which is green and great. I've got my skirt walls, and then I have these 2 not so great interior 100 millimeter walls that are failing the validation. So what I'm going to do now, of course, I'm going to go and see, oh, these are actually wrong. I'm going to change these from that type to the other, and then I'm saving my Revit model, nothing else. And because inside of Anker, let me close this, I'm going back to the web database, I've set up an automation rule that is running, first of all, a population. This is just writing a bunch of like simple data to all the elements. And then I'm validating that wall type validation. And I'm doing it on a schedule at noon every day. And I'm also doing it whenever that interior file is synchronizing. I've enabled the automation. And if I go back to my validation overview and open the wall type validation, you can see it's a perfect 100%. All the 12 walls in my file are now passing and succeeding with passing the check that I showed you in the builder. And also, just to confirm that this is okay, I'll open the validation again inside of Revit and then open wall types, and you can see everything is perfectly fine. So that way you can close the loop of just both exposing the results of the validation with your entire team and making it an important piece of information for everyone, but also bring that back into Revit and make it very easy for people to fix the errors. See you later.